Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. This is the demo for the Taskmaster web application that our capstone group has been working on for the last 2 semesters. We're just going to give you a little context, overview, and vision of this before we get started with the demo. So again, the name of this project is Project Taskmaster, and it is scheduling software for construction companies. The main stakeholders in this project are Brian Cap, who he built the original Taskmaster software several years ago as a desktop application, and the other shareholder, the main shareholder, would be Hadco Construction, who is using that version that Brian built several years ago for their scheduling across their different construction crews in their company. The objective of this project is to move, was to move that application from being a desktop application to the web. The current desktop application has several drawbacks, that with the main one being that if there are ever updates to the software, that each individual computer that has that application downloaded on it needs to be updated with it, and that can be a pain as you have to send the file out to each individual computer versus moving it to the web where there's one central source that can be updated and allow for just concurrent updates and deployments. The While Hadco is the main client that's using this software, the vision is to allow multiple entities and companies, construction companies, to use this application for their own construction and scheduling purposes. The main users of this application are construction schedulers who work with various construction crews in a company like Hadco. And I'll go into a little more detail about who these people are and what they do. So starting off with the schedulers, they're in charge with communicating with the various crews about the different jobs that the crews are working on, and on the status of those jobs and the tasks associated with those jobs. So you may have a job such as building a freeway or something, and there are several tasks associated with that, such as pouring cement or marking different things or digging. And so a job can have various tasks, and each of those tasks have statuses, and then the overall job has a status that needs to be coordinated between the schedulers and the crews. So with this web version, the idea is that the crews will be able to see their jobs online eventually, and that they will no longer have to rely on paper. We've in this version, as you will see and I'll show, we've implemented ways to be able to print out information about the jobs and tasks, so that can still be used and emailed or as a PDF. Some cool things before we get started into the demo, some cool things we learned while working on this project include deploying an application to the web using Microsoft Azure and GitHub, setting up continuous deployment and integration pipelines using Azure, working with GitHub Actions to run tests, learning how to use React with TypeScript, and various other technologies that up to this point several of us had never been exposed to. So that was a really cool experience. So let's go ahead and get started with this demo. In this demo, I'm going to be kind of playing the role of a scheduler named Bob the Builder who works for a construction company. And I'm just going to use this software and demonstrate it as if I was using this in my job. So Bob works with the different Bobcat crews. And so let's say right now I'm going to work with this BC Efren M crew that's under Bobcat Crews, and I want to send them out all the jobs they're going to work on today. So let's go ahead and do that. Selected the crew, and let's select today's jobs. Cool. Now I'm going to go ahead, print out these jobs, and either hand them out to them or download them and send them out via email. And so you see the jobs. This has all of the information about the jobs that are going on. And so I can then download and do that. And so let's say now a new job has to be created, okay? And it's a job that's similar to, we have all these different jobs, and a lot of jobs have information that crosses over. And so I don't want to have to go to add job and create a new job entirely by typing in all the information. So what we have is this add job template. And so these are the different templates that we can choose from to port that information over. So let's say it's the Ivory Ridge Club is the job name I want to port information over. So here we go. Pulls it up and it creates this copy that we can now use. And we will go in and looks like we got everything good there. If we need extra information, we can put it in. But for now, let's just schedule this job, and this is going to be with our BC Efren M crew. And let's say this job is going to start on, let's say it's going to start on Tuesday of next week, okay? So the 21st. We're going to have that start. And you can do this one of two ways. You can either use these widgets to select or just type them in. Let's say this job is going to start at 10 a.m. Oops. There we go. And then let's say the end date for this is going to be the week after. And so we said it starts on the 21st, so it's going to stop on the 28th. And yeah, it can be done at 4:01. That seems good. So we're going to go ahead and save that job. Cool. And so that job's been saved. Now let's say we have some tasks with this job. And so let's go ahead and add a task here. Let's say we're going to, and you can see from this drop down, there's several different tasks. These tasks are specific to some of the jobs that Hadco Construction does. So let's say we're going to add a trucking task. Okay. And let's just call this move dirt. Okay. And that's the name of this task. It's just whatever. And so this task needs to start, say it has to start the day before. So it needs to start on the 20th. And obviously 4 is too, here, let's just do this. We'll type this in. 4 is too early. Who wants, or 4 is too late in the day. Who wants to do that? So let's say we start at, let's do 11. Oops, my bad. Let's go 11 a.m. There we go. Perfect. And so now we're going to go ahead and save those changes. And boom, that task has now been created. And so let's head on back to here, hit the back button, and there it is. Move dirt is in there with a status. I'll show later how to add statuses and how to update their colors and such. So let's go ahead, let's go back to our job info, or not job info, our Taskmaster main page. And now that we've done that, let's say that I now need to create a new crew, okay? So let's go over to our org setting pages here. And we can create a new crew from this. So as you see, we have statuses, labels, work groups. Work groups consist of various crews. And as you saw in our, here, I'll just go back real quick. As you saw in our drop down earlier, we have these different work groups such as Bobcats, Foundation, and they each have various crews assigned to them. So let's say, let's go back here and let's say we have a crew that we need to update, I don't know, the day they work on. So let's start off with this crew, second crew, and we're going to click edit. And it looks like they don't have any days they're working. So let's go ahead and say they're going to work these days. Okay, they work Monday through Friday. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Boom, it's saved. So now let's look at second crew again. Oops, here we go. And it's already been updated. So perfect. So next part. Again, you can do that for different work groups, labels, and statuses. For these labels and statuses, you can even update the color that's associated with the status so that it's reflected when you're looking at it in the table. And I'll point that out when we get back to that table. Actually, in fact, let's find, let's go ahead and just change that. Well, we won't worry about that. You'll see that in the table over here. So as you see, these statuses have these different colors. Death Star is green. Execute order, I'm thinking that's 66. Yeah, that's red. So very cool. So now let's say that we made a mistake and oh no, we need to actually push that job back that we just created. Well, let's first go find that job. We know it's going to be in this month, so remove that and we can find it. We started that job on Tuesday the 21st. Here it is. And let's say we need to move it back 5 days. So we have this handy push selected jobs back, and you can either push it back to the next available day or to a custom day. So let's say, here we go. We're going to do 5. We're going to confirm that. And it's been pushed back to March 27th. And we can do that for one job or several different jobs, okay? And I guess just to keep showing off, we have this tasks um, filter here where we can see all the different tasks in the table rather than jobs, be able to see this week's tasks. Let's say, for instance, we created that task that was, where to go, the trucking task we had. And so we can find, it looks like, oh, that's probably because it's not for this week, it's for next week. So if we look at this month's tasks, move dirt, there it is. There's our tasks. And so this is just another way to be able to search for tasks. We also have a calendar view for the jobs, being able to see it on specific days. If we want to distribute out the things that are gonna, let's real quick, we're gonna kill that one. Let's say we want to get all the jobs that are going to be on a specific date that we want to give out to the crews in advance. We can go here and select that. Other than that, these are the main functionalities. We have an org settings here for user settings. We didn't implement this as much because we ran out of time, but the idea being that you can have your user info here and then various entities that you're associated with and what your role is in the company. Yeah, it was super fun project, but that's pretty much our demo.